welcome to Breakfast and Movie. I watched A Brush with Christmas, the movie from 2022, which is a pleasant movie. It's a thin movie, kind of shallow, and emotionally, kind of unconvincing. I would rate it a 5, maybe a 5.5 out of 10. It isn't bad, but it is nothing great either. A Brush with Christmas is one of those movies that's really easy to watch. You get along with the movie, I guess. But it's also easy to forget and very representative of the Hallmark style holiday formula, which I don't usually have a problem with because I really enjoy those movies, at least most of them. And this one, same thing. I didn't dislike it, but I also couldn't ignore how shallow and rushed a lot of it feels, especially when it comes to the romance part. And that is a little bit of an issue with this movie. The movie follows Charlotte, an artist who's creatively stuck and emotionally drifting a bit. She returns to a small town for the holidays, reconnects with her roots, and then she meets Wyatt, another artist. And from there, we're clearly heading toward a Christmas romance, which is fine. I'm all down for it. Then we get some creative rebirth and a tidy emotional resolution. And sure, that's all fine. That's what I sign up for. That's why I watch these movies. But the problem with this movie starts with how quickly the movie asks you to believe in love. Charlotte and Wyatt know each other for what, like a few days? Maybe a week? I don't know, but a very short period. And yet the movie treats their connection as something so deep and meaningful that it justifies life altering decisions, well, later on. We get scenes of them talking about art, walking around town, lightly flirting, and a little bit of banter, and, supporting each other emotionally. But none of it feels earned enough to justify what comes later. Later on, we get a specific moment where Wyatt gets offered an incredible opportunity, a 1 year position in London with double the salary and, all the things that he wants. This is the kind of a chance that could change his life and could change his career. And to his credit, initially he treats it really seriously. He even asks Charlotte to come with him. And this is where the movie lost me, especially because it is a, romantic, well, slash comedy. Charlotte refuses outright, not because of logistics, not because of a thoughtful discussion about timing or distance. She simply doesn't want to leave town. That's it, really. There's no compromise. There's no consideration for any other solution. Like let's try long distance. No, let's see where this is going. She decides that her life is here in this town and that's that. It's weird. The thing here is that that is not love. Love puts the other person's best interests first and at least enough to seriously consider them. Real love would say something like, we barely know each other, but this matters to you, well, clearly. Let's figure something out. And especially when the relationship is brand new, I think people would usually try something to make it work. And the movie doesn't, you know, take this seriously enough. And instead, we get the most Hallmark solution possible, which is a little bit frustrating. But then again, what do I expect, really? Wyatt goes to leave, then suddenly turns down the job of a lifetime because Charlotte is apparently his dream now. A woman he barely knows, a woman he's known for a few days, maybe a week. He gives up his once in a lifetime opportunity for what is essentially, well, let's be honest here, holiday lust dressed up as destiny. Well, in the movie, dressed up as destiny, but a real person would actually realize that he just likes her. It is lust, and that's that. It is weird. The moment is supposed to feel romantic, but for me, it felt extremely contrived, unbelievable, irresponsible, and well, emotionally hollow. Didn't care. I thought White was being, well, a simp, really. It doesn't help that the movie is supposedly about artists, but the movie feels like they've never consulted an artist to begin with. Charlotte's creative struggle is introduced early on, with scenes of her staring at unfinished work or talking about feeling blocked, But when we actually see her quote unquote art, it's painfully unconvincing. It feels like they printed out some sketches, they printed out some, painting from AI or something like that, something done in Photoshop. It doesn't look real. Yeah, it pulls you a little bit out the movie, I would say. So instead of sketches and paintings or real creative process, we're shown, well, pretty much photographs. There's no sense of craft or experimentation or artistic frustration. And the same goes for Wyatt. Well, we don't see him being an artist either. We're told he's being an artist, but we don't get to see it. There's no sketching, no field attempts, no process, just vague talk about creativity. Now, for a movie centered, and that's the point here, centered around two artists finding inspiration, I think that's a missed opportunity. I would have liked to have some real paintings, some people actually really painting or, sketching something. That would have been really nice. I think that is actually a missed opportunity. That being said, the movie it isn't unpleasant to watch. It's okay. It looks like a Christmas movie. The decorations are all there. The lighting is warm. Scenes of Charlotte painting in softly lit rooms or, walking through decorated streets do create a gentle holiday atmosphere. It looks calm, it's really safe, and, it's easy to watch. It really is. The tone stays mild throughout. Conflicts are extremely small and quickly resolved, but yeah, what do you expect? The side characters are kind, I guess, supportive, but also forgettable, but nobody really stands out in terms of being, frustrating or annoying. Nothing truly bad happens in this movie, and nothing ever challenges the characters in a meaningful way, except maybe for the final conclusion where Wyatt is offered the position in London. That safety is both a strength and a weakness, because while the movie never offends, it also never digs deeper than the surface. Emotional beats arrive when we're expecting them, and the growth happens on schedule, just like we expect. And by the time everything wraps up, creativity is restored, romance is secured, and Christmas spirit is still intact. It all feels neat, tidy, and a little empty. I would even say it feels a little bit too neat, too tidy, and too empty. And that's where A Brush with Christmas ultimately lands for me. It's pleasant, it's definitely watchable, it's fine to have on in the background while doing something else. But the romance doesn't convince in this one. I've seen a lot of these Hallmark slash Netflix rom-coms, Christmas movies, and there are definitely a few ones that are outstanding. They are really great, and there are definitely a few bad ones. But this one, it lands somewhere in the middle. It is okay. So for me, I would land at a 5, 5.5 out of 10. It's not bad, it's not good, just another holiday movie that looks nice, feels gentle, and asks you not to think too hard about what is actually going on. So that's that. That's my take. I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.